We are learning how to work with folders and files. In the previous video, we saw how to create a folder or a directory, make directory, right? So we create a folder. Now we need to create a file, right? That's another common operation that you do. If you want to just create the file in the terminal, there is actually an option to do that. So let's take a look. Before we get to the main part of the tutorial, I want to remind you this is part of a full course. It's a free course on my site that I call Engineering Toolbox. It's a collection of different topics. It's a bunch of mini courses in one big course that I meant for somebody just getting into tech, learning how to code, learning how to automate. There's a lot of different tools that will not be part of the main thing you're learning, but you still have to know. And I call them essential tools for an engineer. So it's a course that is configured in a course format, really focused and less distraction. So I definitely think you should consider taking that course. It's free, and I'm going to put the link in the description. All right. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe so you get notification when I create videos. All I do is help people learn automation, help people learn QA, and break into the tech field in general. So you would really enjoy my content, and I focus on education. All right, so subscribe and like the video. All right, so let's get back to the main part of the tutorial. So when we look at the cheat sheet, this one is going to be touch. That's the version for Mac. On Windows, actually, I don't have it here. I'll probably add it. It's not an exact command like this, but it's a little trick we use to be able to create a file in the terminal, in the CMD. All right. So I'm going to go back to my terminal, and here, let me go back out a couple of times. My projects, let's just do it here. Okay, I'm going to clear PWD. You can see I am in my project. So if we see here, I'm inside my project, and there are five directories, right? If I do a list, there are 5 directories. So let's say I want in sample 1, I want to create a file. There isn't actually an easy way from the UI. The command line is actually easy. I can do right click. There is no new file. I mean, I never really even tried something like that. There's a new folder, but not a new file. What you would do is you would open the folder. I can say open. That's not even an option, but from the command line, I can open it. In fact, let me show you. If you have VS Code installed, then you need to, there's a command here that you can set so you can open files automatically with VS Code. So right now I can say code sample 1. And this will actually open this folder in VS Code. Or I can go to VS Code, just open VS Code, go to File, Open Folder, and you can just go to, I'm going to open sample 2. Open that. Then you will do right click, new file, and I can say example 1 or something, right? .txt, right? This is a text file. Now I can create a file there. But that's not the idea. This is a long way. This is how you've been doing it. This is not new, right? For you to use a UI to create a file, that's a new. You open a folder, file open, then you can just right click and create file, and you can just do file here, and there should be new file, right? That's the old school. Now you want to learn command. So here, let me go to cd sample 1. If I do ls, there's nothing there. If I show you here, there's nothing in this folder. Now I can say touch. That's a command, right? Touch. I can say example file 1 .txt. Again, notice I never use space when I create file names and directory name. That's an extremely important rule. You could, but then it's just going to give you a headache. Why, right? Just make it a habit not to use a space inside of your name. I know I'm just saying that over and over again because with my students, I get questions all the time. I get errors saying, hey, why am I getting this error? Well, because you have a space in the name. If you have a space in the name, you have to consciously deal with it, handle it by adding quotes, okay? All right, so let me hit enter here. I'm gonna do enter, and there you go. If I do ls, the file is there. If I go here, the file is there. I can create another one. I can say touch foobar.py. Let me create a Python file, right? If I do ls, now both files are there. I can see that. So it's pretty simple. Touch and the file name, and that will create the file, right? An empty file. There's nothing in there. If I go back to VS Code, go to sample 1, and I see right here. That's not it. This guy here. This is the 2 files here, sample 1 and foobar.py. They're empty files. Now you got to open those in an editor something like Vim. If you're going to do it from the command line, you have to use Vim or Nano, or you just open it in one of the editors. Like here, I'm opening it in VS Code. You can open it in Sublime or any editor, and that would work. So that's really how you create a file from the command line. On Windows, there is no one single command to create one, but the one I'm looking at, I literally asked ChatGPT what is the equivalent of touch for Windows. That's what I do, and it gave me some examples. So for example, let me see, can I copy from Mac to Windows? Yeah, there you go. So it's type null. Null is like a null value, like basically mean it just doesn't even exist. I don't know how to explain it. It's a data type, so null data type. So null, and pipe it into file name. So if I do dir, there should be a file name.txt with nothing in it because we're actually writing null. I can do type abc, then send it to my file.txt. Now, type, oh, that did not work. System cannot find the file specified. Oh, I guess type null my file.txt. Okay, so I just learned something with you. As I go, again, Windows, type null, and this thing sending the output to another file. That's what normally is, at least on a Linux, and it will create a file. Okay, now you know what touch is and you know how it works. So if you want to do it for Windows, all you have to do is ask AI or Google, right? So that's how it is. There's not much to. There's a few other options. There's this other one. It does an echo, just like a print, and echo dot, again the greater than sign, and file name .txt or whatever the extension is. Okay, so that's really there isn't much to creating a file. It's just touch. So when we look at this cheat sheet here for the Mac, we just looked at touch. So we saw how to create a directory and we saw how to create a file, and we're going to continue to look at how to manipulate those. Once after we create them, we need to copy it, we need to move it, we need to delete it, right? We need to manipulate that file or directory. Then we're going to look at that. That's a little bit more interesting. Actually, this one is pretty straightforward, right? So let's keep going.